Welcome to our Promoting LMU Munich While Studying Abroad webinar. My name is Andrea Adamor. I'm the Director of German University Alliance, which is the joint liaison office of LMU Munich and Freie Universität in Berlin. In North America, we are actually in New York City, right across from the UN. Harald, David, and I thought that it might be helpful for all of you being in North America right now and at our partner institutions to give you a little guidance on how you can help us promote studying at LMU so that we have future American and Canadian students being interested in coming to LMU, and therefore we can send the next cohort of students to the institutions that you are at right now. So why are we offering this webinar? As we said already, we are kind of banking on you as our ambassadors for studying abroad while you are at your university in the US and in Canada. And from my experience in the past, when I've worked at study abroad fairs or info sessions at partner institutions, I've seen a lot of exchange students, so guest students, who wanted to do that, but they knew a lot about their university, but not necessarily the things that an international student who's interested in coming to the university needs to know. So I was hoping to give you some information through this format. And you'll get a lot of information today, but first of all, I also want to talk about what formats you can actually use to promote that study abroad experience. I already mentioned study abroad fairs, so you can find out if your guest institution is offering a study abroad fair, and if you are able to exhibit there, have a booth and present materials and information. So study abroad fairs are one option. Another option would be an info session. That's what I usually do when I visit partner institutions. I invite students from all kinds of different departments that might be interested, not just the German department, also the political science, business schools, whatsoever, and I talk to faculty and make them invite students to an info session, and then you actually have students that are already really interested in studying abroad and in Germany, whereas at the study abroad fair, it's basically usually in the middle of the campus. A lot of students come by and they just graze, and they might pick up a brochure, but they're not necessarily really interested in going to Germany. Another format might be a Kaffeestündchen, or whatever you want to call it. You can invite students to just have a little bit of a German experience. Maybe maybe Christmas time, you can ask for some Pfefferkuchen or something, and get them sent to you, and then have a German Christmas Kaffeestunde and talk about how Germany is and how much fun it is to study there, etc. It's also a possibility to talk to different faculty members and make them aware of the options that are out there, so they can actually work as a multiplier with students. Or of course, you will most likely already have done that, talk with a fellow student one-on-one and give him or her information. So now how can we help? And we, that is my colleague Priya and myself here in the office in New York, we of course always there to help you with preparing for such an event. We'll send you materials, we'll give you all information you need, and if you have expenses, we can reimburse you for those. Obviously, you don't have to spend your own money on that. If you want that, though, let us know in advance what you are planning, and then we'll make sure we are actually able to help you with that. So just a little note on the side, if you have questions, most of you have already, unfortunately, you have to find out where you can type in your questions, so you can do that at any time. I'm trying to keep an eye on the questions bar. That's when I look a little bit distracted, I'm usually looking at the control panel there. So please, if you have a question immediately, punch it in, and of course at the end we'll also have a little time for questions. So before going into what I usually give as my presentation on LMU Munich and the study abroad options, I want to mention a few very important facts that are, when you see them, they seem quite obvious, but these are like the most important things that North American students don't know about the German university system, and that they need to be made aware of. So one major thing you've already experienced is that the academic calendars in North America and in Germany are very different. Our winter semester starts mid-October. In North America, everything starts earlier, and then it ends basically at Christmas, whereas our winter semester runs into the new year, which makes it a little bit difficult for those students who only want to spend one semester abroad and they want to go on a winter term, because American students who want to take an LMU winter semester would actually ruin their whole academic year. So if you meet a student who only wants to study abroad for a semester, you should recommend that they go abroad for the summer semester, the summer term. But actually it makes sense to try to convince them to go for a full year, which is, one semester, as you might experience yourself, as soon as you arrive and get settled, the first semester is already over. So a full year makes much more sense in terms of getting a real good and deep impression of the host country. So the difference in the academic calendar. The second point is that North American students are, most of them, there are some exceptions, but most of them, they have a very specific expectation or an image of what a campus is. And you guys coming from LMU, LMU doesn't have a real campus as you probably experience right now. Just one remark on the side, you will absolutely get the slides once we're done with the webinar. Somebody just asked the question. So yes, you don't need to make notes. We will email it to you, and hopefully our recording of the session works, so you can actually revisit if you need or want to. You'll get the slides definitely, and you also get it as a PowerPoint presentation so that you can use it for your sessions. Back to the campus. So they have an expectation of what a campus looks like. It's kind of an enclosed area where there are a lot of facilities, including housing, cafeterias, amazing sports facilities, and everything is kind of in walking distance. Maybe you have to take a bike, but it's all in one area. Now, as you know, at LMU, things are a little bit more spread over the city, depends on which field one studies, but you can actually have to take a subway to go from the main building to your where you are taking your courses. So that's something you have to explain to them, and actually you can put it in very appealing terms that LMU is a part of the city, that it's really, you're right in the middle, in the heart of a beautiful city. But it's important to present that to them, and also talk a little bit about the facilities that we offer, that there are sports programs, that there are cafeterias, but they're slightly different from what they are used from home. I'm going to talk about housing a little later on as well. Third point, tuition fees and tuition waivers. How does it work? As you know right now, you're not paying to study at all our amazing partner institutions, and the way this exchange program works is that each student pays their home tuition. Now in Germany we don't have tuition fees because our higher education system is tax funded. So in a way our parents and your parents and you through other taxes are paying for your education. Yes, but it's not by tuition fees. So that's something that North American students don't really understand quite well. They think, oh, you study for free in Germany and they have to pay a lot of tuition fees. So when they go to Germany, it should be free for them, but that's not how it works. And I'm usually, if I encounter someone who doesn't understand it, I say, well, our system costs as well. It's just funded through the society and through taxes. But you, as you know, they will pay their tuition fees even if they're going abroad. So they don't have to pay extra tuition fees when they go to Germany, but they have to pay home tuition. And in order to go to Germany, it basically remains the same. What we do not offer is scholarships for exchange students, but there are options for receiving a scholarship, not through the university, but for example through the DAAD, which some of you might know. And I'm going to talk about this at the end of the presentation. So that's something to maybe bring up at the same point and when you talk about tuition fees. And last but not least, credits. You are probably all concerned about credit transfer yourself, the other direction. So you might imagine that for the American students, that's also very important. So they're, they're paying their home tuition when they go to Munich, so they also need to bring credit homes in order for that semester or year abroad to be worth it. And that is actually not a problem. They will receive a graded transcript at the end of their study abroad, usually it's not a problem to transfer the credits. You can already explain that in Germany we use ECTS, and the conversion rate is usually 2 to 1 between ECTS and American credits. What I always recommend is that students who want to go to study in Germany, that they talk to their advisors in the US or in Canada before leaving, and make sure that they take the right courses, that the credits will be accepted in their specific academic program here in North America. Resources beyond this webinar, obviously LMU has a website for international incoming students. The link is here, and then there's also a handbook for students that they can look at online. Another resource that I am happy to send to you to give out to students is the Study With Us brochure. That actually your host universities should already have it, but I can send you guys a package also with other materials. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the presentation that I usually give to international students when I visit our partner universities. And I'm not going to go through the presentation as I would do with them. I'm just giving you some additional input, like why I do it and what you could add. So I usually start with a little bit about the city of Munich, and you can do this much better than I can because you know the city, you have lived there. I've only visited several times. I love Munich, but you actually know it very well. So you should throw in pictures, little stories, your favorite spots, talk about what you do on the weekends, the night scene, all those things. You can also talk about Germany as a destination for international students. We have more than 250,000 international students studying in Germany right now. It's Europe's largest economy and the third largest in the world. You can talk about the high standards in academia and great research and how much of the GDP is spent on R&D, etc. So there's lots of stuff that you can add in the more general part of that. And then I usually talk a little bit about LMU so that they get an idea that it's a very a university with good tradition. It's a very old university, but also a very modern university. As we learned today, it's in the newest Times Higher Ed ranking. It was ranked 29th in the world. So this is an amazing ranking for the university. It speaks for the amazing research that's being done in Munich. So American students in particular always look at rankings. So that's worth mentioning. That you should mention that it's a very big university, 50,000 students right now, that we are offering degree programs in all fields except for engineering, architecture, and so on. But you can, again, add your own information there, and probably you might talk about your field of study a bit more. I always show a few pictures of the campus so that they get a little bit of a feel for it, and I show where the parts of the university are actually in the city of Munich, so that speaks for the campus idea, or that we don't have a campus per se. Yeah, Munich and where the university is located. There will be a link to a little film about the university that you'll get on the presentation. So talk about Schwabing, Englischer Garten, all these things, and make it sound appealing. Then I usually bring up the different choices that students have to go to study abroad in Munich. So we are, as you are all exchange students right now in the US and Canada, we're kind of most interested in students to go on an exchange program so that we create more spots for LMU students to go abroad next year. So that's a major thing to push at the partner institutions. Secondly, we have a summer university, which is very attractive because these courses are taught mostly in English, which you will encounter that a lot of your fellow students would love to study in Munich, but they don't speak German, so they can't study in the regular undergraduate courses. So maybe they want to come for a summer course. But of course, we are also interested in students who would like to come for a full degree program. Mostly interested in master's and PhD programs, because the undergraduate programs, a lot of them are already, yeah, we have many more applicants than spaces in a lot of our undergraduate programs. And then one thing that's not mentioned on this slide is actually there's also the option to study at LMU or in Munich as part of a junior year abroad, which I'll present to you a little later. So studying at LMU as an exchange student. What I like to point at there is that this is actually the real experience. A summer program is not the full, students will never really experience Germany or Munich or studying in Germany. They are just there for 4 weeks in the summer, when actually there's no one at the university except for summer university students. So it's a real immersion. They really learn how studying in Germany is. It's a very different style of teaching, a very different style of learning. It's a growth experience for, I would say, every single student who goes abroad. It comes with some caveats though, and one is language requirements. As I said before, most of our undergraduate courses are taught in English, in German, not in English. So students actually need to be fluent in German to be able to study as an exchange student. We usually say advanced intermediate proficiency, but we are not testing exchange students. We just rely on our partner institutions that they screen their students beforehand and make sure that they actually have the required language capabilities. We have had a number of students who came with very basic or no knowledge of German. It is possible if those students study the right subject. So our business school in Munich, for example, offers a lot of courses also on the undergraduate level in English. But this is a very specific case, and I wouldn't recommend to advertise it too much. Usually you should say that they should be advanced intermediate German. If someone feels like they've taken enough courses, so about 2 years of college German is a good amount. But if they feel like maybe it's not going to be enough, then you can also tell them that there's a language prep course. It starts 4 weeks before the semester. It costs about 350 euros for an intensive language course. That is a very competitive price. So, and it also gives credits. It's 2 US credits for that 4 weeks course. So a lot of our exchange students actually make use of that. So that's something you can also tell them. You can also say that for a lot of our international students, it's a good idea to mix some of the courses taught in German with those courses that are offered in English. The departments that offer the biggest number of courses in English on the undergraduate level are, they already said, business and economics, political science, and then of course American studies is also a possibility. Once somebody is admitted as an exchange student, of course he or she will receive full support by the international office. There's an orientation program. They can also choose to be part of the buddy program, so they will be paired with a German student, and they will be kind of guided along in preparation for studying at Munich. I already talked about the transcript. And housing, I touched on saying, as you all know, there's no on-campus housing. Housing is run through the Studentenwerk, and exchange students or prospective exchange students can apply for housing. And if they do that early enough, right when they are applying for an exchange spot, we will actually make sure that they get a room in a dorm. But they have to let us know very early on that they want a room, and then, as I said, it will work out. And on the website there are other resources for how to get housing in Munich. Another question that comes up a lot of students is, do I need a visa? So you kind of have to distinguish between Canadian and US citizens. If you're talking to Canadians or US citizens, you can tell them that they don't need a visa. They can enter Germany on the visa waiver program, and then they will have to apply for a student residence permit within 90 days upon arrival, and they will gather all the necessary documentation once they're in Munich, and the international office will help them with that. They will need health insurance in Germany. It costs about 80 euros per month for a student, and they can get a waiver for that if their Canadian or US health insurance fully covers them while they're in Germany. But they have to go to a German health insurance and get a waiver for that. Fees that they have to pay in addition to their home tuition is the administrative fee of 52 euros per semester, and then also the fee for the semester ticket, and that is worth to elaborate a little bit upon. So there's the, as you know, the Sockel ticket, and then the more the broader semester ticket, and you might want to explain what the advantages are, how it works, and that it's quite worth the money they spend in order for what it offers. How do they apply for exchange study in Munich now? So it's basically quite the same as it was for you. They are actually applying with their study abroad office at the US and Canadian university. If you're giving an info session or you go to a study abroad fair, it might actually be worth talking to the study abroad office in your host institution beforehand and ask them when is the deadline for application, what should I tell them, who's the contact person, so you can point the students to the right person and say, go to talk to whatever, Tiffany or Jennifer or Scott, and they will give you the information and the paperwork, etc. Once they have applied, that the host institution, no, that their home institution will send LMU the application package, and then they will usually get accepted. Once nominated and elected by their home institution, that usually they get accepted by LMU, and then they are all good to go. Another question that always comes up, living expenses. You are probably in a much better position to give them an accurate number. This is what my colleagues in the international office in Munich and I came up with. It obviously depends on what students want to do, how much they want to go out, how much they want to travel. But the question will come up, how much does it cost to live? And you should be able to give them an average number. You can give them a different number if you think I'm completely off. And if so, then please let me know so that I can change my information for future presentations as well. MISU, Munich International Summer University. So this is an offer for students who want to come not for a semester or a full year, but just for a shorter period of time. We have 3 different options within MISU. We have very demanding undergraduate academies that are very field specific. We have language program in the summer, and then we also have kind of more like a research internship program. They are all complemented by a really interesting, fun cultural program, if you want to say so. There's a Sommerfest, and there's evening activities. There'll be housing will of course be organized by MISU for them. There's always a person they can talk to if they run into trouble. There are weekend trips that are organized for the students. So it's no matter which MISU course they attend, they'll have a lot of fun outside the academics. The academies in 2014 included a course on electronic media, one in, like as you see here, occupational health, in life and nanosciences. Everything that sounds fairly field-specific is fairly field-specific, so they're actually, not everybody can apply. One program or 2 programs I want to point out that almost everyone undergraduate student could apply to is German language courses, of course, and then the course that's called European Studies. It's actually, European Studies is a fun course that is not only in Munich, but it's also in Prague and Vienna. So they cover a whole, yeah, it's, in 6 weeks they see a lot of Europe already. And it is what it is, European Studies, not something for everyone, but they don't have a very high entrance requirements. Whereas if you apply for research internship in the life sciences, then there's a lot of prerequisites for these things. The fees vary. There are waivers of tuition fees for students from partner institutions that they can apply for. So that's something you should point out as well. German classes are on different levels, as well as business German and also training for the German tests, the official German language tests. All the MISO courses take place between June and September. Website is there, and the application deadlines are very, very different as well. So that really depends on what the student is looking into. Next program is what I briefly mentioned in the beginning, the Wayne State Junior Year in Munich. It's a long-standing program. It's been there for many, many years. It's run from the office in Munich, and there's a partner office in Detroit. It's run by Wayne State, and it's basically a group of American students coming to Munich to study there for a year. Every single year. It's a much more cared for way of studying abroad than the exchange experience. The students can design their own program. There are the junior year in Munich courses. They have to take advanced German language course in this program. Then they have area studies courses that are elective courses. So it's a little bit of a mix between the German and the American style of teaching. And then students can take courses at LMU Munich, so regular German university courses. They can also actually take courses at the Technical University in Munich. And then there's also the possibility of doing some arts classes. So it's a really interesting mix of courses that they can choose from. They will learn German during that year, immerse themselves in the German culture. This program comes with fees, but there are also program scholarships available. The website is there, and there's also the contact for the Detroit office, which probably what most students will go to first. But there's also an office in Munich that you'll find on the website if you want to promote this program. It's very interesting to students who don't speak German very well, but who want to spend a longer period of time in Germany, in Munich. So definitely, if you meet somebody who seems very interested in the idea of studying in Germany, but is far from being fluent in German, you might want to point out this program to him or her. With all of these programs and everything I'm saying today, is you can always give my contact information to your fellow students. They can contact me directly here in New York. They can call me or send me an email, and I'll be hopefully able to guide them, give them advice on what they need to know, what's the right fit for them. Obviously, we also have our master's programs, PhD programs. If you meet someone who's interested in graduate study in Munich, highly recommend that. Point them to me. I will talk them through the application process. And for all of the programs, there will always be the question of how do I finance that, since I have to pay tuition at home, or if I don't, even if I want to go for a graduate program, how do I pay for all the costs of living in Munich, for the flight, etc. So very few of the programs offer scholarships, as I already said, but you can always come with the answer. There is an organization in Germany. It's called the German Academic Exchange Service. Most of you probably know it, the Deutsche Akademischer Austauschdienst. I put the American website, the US and Canada website up top, where this website gives them all the programs specifically for North American students and also researchers, scientists. I usually explain a little bit about what the DAD is, and then I touch on the three most relevant scholarship programs for students at our partner institutions. The undergraduate scholarship is for students who want to go for a semester or for a year, study or do thesis research or an internship in Germany. They can come as an exchange student or independently. All academic fields, they get a monthly stipend and a travel stipend. So this works, for example, for exchange students. One thing that it holds true for all these DAD scholarships is that they have very early application deadlines. So January 31st, 2015 is not only the deadline if they want to apply for a scholarship for the fall of 2015, it's also the deadline if they want to have a scholarship in the summer term of 2016. So the deadlines are always for the next academic year, the whole year. So this one is in January. Another one I will tell you about in a little bit is actually already in November, and that's usually before the deadlines that they have to face for applying to go study abroad. RISE is a program that is actually extremely attractive in North America. It's a research internship in internships in science and engineering. It's a summer program where American and Canadian undergraduate students are paired with German graduate students, and they do research in a lab. They don't need to speak German. It's fully funded. They get everything paid for, and they can choose these internships from a database and apply for whatever fits their specific needs. So we typically have internships at LMU in that database. It's just something that if somebody's interested in a research internship, and there's not a lot of this that we offer at LMU, you can say, oh, but you know, there is a program I know about that DAD offers. It's a really nice program, well designed, and it won't cost them a lot, or actually close to nothing. And then there's a study scholarship for graduates. This is something for students who might be interested in doing graduate studies in Germany. Here again, the deadline very early is already in November. They can get a scholarship for 1 year or also for 2 years if they want to do a full master's program. 60 scholarships for North Americans, so US and Canadians, a year. It's a little bit higher, the stipend, than for the undergraduates. The DAD website offers very good resources on telling students how to apply, what's important, and they should really look at this because we're actually in the same building as the DAD North America here, and I've heard from my DAD contacts here in the building that some applications are not very well done, and just because students don't know what is expected. So they can learn a lot from the website and hopefully not make unnecessary mistakes. And that was it basically in terms of what I wanted to share with you. Again, you can email me, call me, ask me for help, any kind of advice or funding, whatever you need in order to host an event at your partner institution. Of course, you can also contact me if you have any other questions, concerns while you are abroad and you feel like you need help. I'll try to make it work from here. But if anyone has any questions right now, that's the advantage of a webinar, that you can actually raise your questions right now. Just type it in, and I will hopefully be able to answer. So we'll wait a second if somebody has a question. I'm not seeing anything. We are recording the session, as I already said. I will send you a link probably early next week where you can get the recording, and you'll also receive the slides with also some notes to it that you can use. If you have feedback on if you found this helpful, or if you would like to add something, or if some information is not correct, accurate, if you think so, please let us know. Obviously, we are trying to make this work for you, and it is for you, so we're kind of hoping for feedback and seeing if we should repeat this next year. So thank you all very much for attending, and most of all, have a lot of fun while you're here in North America, and also hopefully much success with your studies. Okay, I don't see any questions, so with that, I'll end our session and say goodbye.